What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. Today is Monday, July 6th. I'm Brinson. I'm your host, and we have, I don't want to call it breaking news because you probably have seen it because there's some reports out there that one of the members of this podcast leaving the show, leaving CBS.
Is it true that this person that's leaving is getting fired for a completely and utterly terrible list of top 10 coaches?
That is the rumor that Sean Wagner-McGough's coaching list, his top 10 coaching list, which featured Doug Peterson, apparently Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have a lot of pull at CBS. They called the Muckety Mucks, and they have canned Sean. And so we said, listen, we agree. Sean's list was crap. Sean's work is generally crap. But before he goes, we'd like to have one more, 45-minute to hour and a half, 90-minute podcast with Sean.
I'm just surprised that for 5.5 years I've been putting out terrible, crappy lists like this, and I haven't gotten fired. Like, the fact that, my entire experience getting in journalism was I'm going to see how long I can just be a troll and get paid to do it and see how long it takes me to get fired, and it took me 5.5 years. So I think I deserve a lot of credit for having that kind of longevity.
You're going from one troll job to potentially a bigger troll job. Is that true? What are you going to do next?
Well, you see what happened
we were joking on the firing thing. Sean didn't really get fired.
No. Here's what actually happened. The list came out on Monday. The reaction was so bad, I was like, I need to reevaluate my career. So on Tuesday, I decided I'm going to go to law school instead of continuing in journalism. So on Tuesday, I started studying for the LSAT. On Wednesday, I took the LSAT. On Thursday, I applied to a number of schools. And
on Friday, your dad a huge donation to the University of Boulder, Colorado Law School and greased the wheels for you to bypass the typical admission process. And so now you will be attending law school at the Wagner-McGough School of Law at University of
The building is no longer called the Wolf Building for law school. It's actually the John Wagner-McGough Law School building. But no, in all seriousness, this will
I'm out.
She'll be my final podcast.
You left out a key part that you are only going to law school so that you can file a slander lawsuit against Eagles fans and specifically two of your former coworkers, who I won't name.
Ooh.
Who are the two?
Hey, Breech, first thing you learn in law school is that slander, it's libel. Libel when it's written, slander when it's spoken. Come on.
By the way,
I listened to the podcast with Brinson. It was spoken. It was written. It was all of it.
By the way, Ryan, you should probably learn that if you're in journalism and not going to law school. I don't know how that bodes well moving forward.
You are really going to law school, right, Sean?
Yes. I guess this is coming out on Monday. So 2 weeks ago, I did put in my 2 weeks. Had a very nice conversation with EK, our boss here, who hired me 5.5 years ago. I have no idea why he hired me 5.5 years ago. I was fresh out of college, 22 years old, very little actual professional experience in writing. And so
you were just going to stop at very little. I was very little.
No, I was. You've seen the photos. I was actually quite large back then.
You were fat when you and Pete Blackburn worked together at all 32 teams.
Next Impulse Sports.
Nextimpulsesports.biz.
By the way, 2 out of the 4 writers there went on to CBSSports.com. So it's pretty good farm team.
They say more about us than Next Impulse.
That's true.
I'm just kidding. Pete Blackburn's a friend of the show. We didn't have Pete on to talk Patriots. Pete's doing great work with our newsletter. You should subscribe to that. And if you like newsletters that are long-winded and have half-assed, half-baked ideas on them, check out Sean's newsletter, The Long Shot.
By the way, Brinson, you were mentioned in this week's newsletter.
You're not going to convince
you
me.
hit retweet on the tweet, but I know you didn't click on the actual article. But you were actually mentioned by name in the newsletter.
Brinson, let me ask you this, because you don't have to be nice to Sean anymore. Not that you ever were. How many times have you read his newsletter in the 3 months it's been out?
In its entirety, or
I can fact check this too.
Yeah, I would say I probably opened it 3 times and read it in its entirety 0 times.
Honestly, I would prefer for you just to unsubscribe, because all I care about is my open rate, and you're just killing it.
Well, you know what happens is it goes to my
your promotions,
the promotions, or the updates folder, and you get a horde of them in the morning. I always read the Sunday long read with Don Van Natta, and I'll miss it a lot of times because it just comes in this huge batch of stuff. And Sean, I think too that your problem is, don't you send it out at like 11 a.m. or something?
No, the first one I sent out was in the middle of the day. And then the second one I did 7 a.m. Pacific. Ryan and Brinson yelled at me saying that was too late. And so immediately I switched it and I sent it out at 7 a.m. Eastern every single week since.
And you've been getting a bunch more engagement, right?
No, I mean, it's pretty stagnant. There was like a big growth. And then Matt Moore actually retweeted one of my early ones, and that got like a lot of subscribers because he retweeted it.
Well, Sean, let me ask you.
And then
this.
I have stagnated.
I know that when you have a newsletter, the important part is when you hit that 100 mark. Who is your 100th subscriber?
That was John Breech, who would refuse to subscribe unless he was exactly number 100.
And spent far too much time trying to figure out when you would be the 100th subscriber. Okay, but all right, so anyway, subscribe to Sean's newsletter or whatever. We're not here to talk about that. We are here to reminisce on Sean's. This is strictly a Sean-centric podcast, although, of course, we will circle back to football-related matters. I think we've covered everything in the news. It's a very slow time in football. Sean's departure caught us by surprise. I can't believe you were here for 5.5 years. And by the way, as we're recording this, Sean's wearing a brand new shirt, the band brand new. He's wearing a Brinson Sucks hat made by our friend of the podcast, Lewis Dawes.
I'm not getting rid of this one.
And he's drinking hard kombucha.
Very on brand for me.
At, it's not even 1 o'clock your time as we're recording this.
No, and I am notoriously anti-day drinking because I just end up getting tired, and I don't like that. But I did it for you guys because I didn't want to be the only one not drinking.
Mostly because I like to work out.
Oh, no, I worked out this morning. Very on brand.
I did too.
You did.
But yes, I am drinking.
Hitting the ball machine is cardio, man.
Why'd you get home at 3 o'clock if you work out in the morning?
Well, I worked out in Sean's morning time. My
Oh.
afternoon. So, were you really here 5.5 years?
Yes, my first article at CBS. By the way, I tried to go and count. It's somewhere around like 5,000. It's like, I mean,
that I've written like
because for 4 years, it was the four of us plus Dubin, like rotating like 2 or 3 per day. And so we were each chugging like 5 was minimum per day, I remember. And so that was for like 4 years until we got a bunch of new writers, thankfully, this past year. So it's somewhere around 5,000. My first NFL article was about Carson Palmer returning to the field for the Cardinals in like mini camp because he had torn his ACL. And my first ever job at CBS was covering Mayweather-Pacquiao, which puts it into perspective for a lot of people. I knew nothing about boxing. Thank you guys for letting me think it.
You don't know anything about football either. You lasted that
for 5 years.
Which is crazy because I think Ryan and I definitely were here, and I don't know about Breech, but Ryan and I were definitely covering like Carson Palmer threatening to retire at CBS.
Yeah,
right?
You guys are lucky I wasn't here for that. That would have been I wouldn't have made it this far. I would have retired with him.
Sean, DeBo has it in here. Sean's real statement. Was that just you telling us?
I think it's just that this is my final podcast. And if you're listening to this, I've already had my final day at CBS. And I am not leaving because of CBS or not leaving because of like going to have a different job in this industry. I am leaving because I am getting out of journalism and I'm going to law school. And yes,
it's funny. So Sean let us in on this. We've known for about a week or two. And once we found out, we were all guessing. He said, "Hey guys, I need you to get on Skype. I've got some big news." And big news.
It's like when your dad calls. He's like, "Do you have time to talk?" Or like,
that's literally what I did. Do you guys have a minute to chat today?
You guys have a minute to get on the Skype. It's like, well, Sean's either. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Breech. I mean,
No, this is like you're in college and your girlfriend calls you up and she's like, "Hey, I've got some big news. We need to talk." And you're like, "Oh man, it's either a breakup, she's pregnant." Or like,
please let her be dumping me. Please let her be dumping me. Please don't be pregnant.
So that's what was happening. So as soon as Sean sends us that text, we cut him out of our text thread. It's now me, Wilson, and Brinson, and we're like, "What the hell do you think's going on? What could possibly? Why would Sean need to talk to us out of the blue for a random Skype conversation?" So we're sending guesses to each other. I think Wilson's guess was that Sean was getting married or got engaged.
Oh, wait. Let me interrupt you real quick because Ryan texted me separately right away, and he asked me if I was arrested.
Arrested?
And I thanked him for having his mind go immediately there, thinking it was something bad.
Just a weird thing to say to someone. Can you guys talk real quick on Skype?
He said, I got it right now. What are you up to? You didn't get arrested, did you?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And
Hey,
I
guys,
s-
need to-
I said, thanks for immediately
You're
thinking the
wondering who
word.
Sean's internet/work dad is.
He said, how often does a millennial want to get on a phone call? Which is valid.
Yep.
And then here were the guesses. I pulled up the text thread. Brinson said he is either engaged or leaving CBS. Wilson said he has to have a new job, right? I bet he's going to be the movie guy at some hipster website.
Great
That
guess.
was from Wilson. And my guess was that he was going to switch to soccer here because, we're going all in on our soccer coverage. And I thought Sean had requested to get off football because he was tired of podcasting with Brinson. But that was not. And you know what? My other guess was that he had coronavirus.
Yes, when I logged on to the Skype call last, you were mid talking about how I could have corona. I do like your guess the best though, Breech, the soccer thing. I don't think I would have left for another company. I just don't think there would have been another place that would have.
Well, yeah, in hindsight, we know you just wanted out of journalism. Okay, so
Wait a
how
second.
would you-
though.
all right,
He would
wanna-
leave for another- he would leave for another company. If Brand New called him to be their video writer, follower, blogger guy, he would take that job in a heartbeat. He'd take that.
I think he would leave for the Ringer too. That's like just hipster enough where Sean would go. It's like, like just working at the Ringer. Just
If
do it.
I had though, it would only strictly be because I would be able to write about movies there, where it's like you can't do that at CBS. I would not be going.
I don't
I
know.
would not leave CBS for the Ringer to
Five and a
cover
half
the
years
NFL
jamming Star Wars jokes into your
and Game of Thrones and Game of Thrones.
Yes, and Game of Thrones and Brand New. So I don't know if it's entirely true. Okay, let's.
I heard that as soon as Sean's officially out, an editor is going to go through and edit out all his Star Wars jokes.
Sean, let's give us a grade for your time at CBS. Not how you did, but just your time at CBS. And we want an honest grade because you're gone. You're done. You're not coming back.
I mean, the honest grade is probably a 9 or a 10. And that's not me.
Not a grade, but that's okay.
And he cursed.
I know. Well, and
He just
DeBo. I mean,
cuts.
now, yeah. Oh, well, it's great too because it's not extra work for DeBo. Like, Brinson's probably gonna have to go do this since DeBo's not on this
If
call.
history told you anything with me saying things I shouldn't say accidentally. it
Well,
was-
here's the thing, Ryan. This is airing. I don't work at CBS anymore. Like, if the worst thing that happens is I say bull, like, you know what I mean? Like, why does that matter? The grade, I would give it an A. Like, I would really give it an A. If you would have told me when I was in college, incredibly passionate about this, and this was all I wanted to do. And at the time when I graduated, I was applying to like crappy newspapers, like on the
You
East
keep
Coast.
cussing, we'll just cut this podcast off.
I said
I'm not-
crappy.
You know,
I
I'm-
literally
you know-
just tried to avoid the S word by saying crappy to help you out.
I mean, what is hard kombucha? It's like 5.5 ABV. Like, what is
No,
it?
it's actually 6.9, I think.
Whatever.
Anyways, nice. The day I got the job offer for CBS, I was about to accept a different offer to go cover high school sports in Pennsylvania. So like I was geared in to do like
So you were going to go cover high school sports in Pennsylvania?
if I didn't get the offer from CBS, like I told EK, like, look, I got this offer.
So
And-
basically, CBS is the Jets, and you're Christian Hackenberg. We draft you in the second round. And
No, because Christian Ackberg was highly touted. I don't think I was ever highly touted.
So
But
this
no,
is like that movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. You're the
Yeah,
movie buff.
if Sean goes to cover high school sports in Pennsylvania, he's already graduated law school now.
yes, probably.
Like, he's out.
I probably last 6
Nah.
months. I probably last 6 months at most
Okay,
there.
so
I remember. Wait. No, I remember. I talked to the guy that I was going to be replacing because he was getting promoted, or he was
What?
leaving to a bigger paper. And I asked him like, "What is it like?" And he was just like, "It's a good experience," but he said, "Let me put it this way: I eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for every meal."
Because he can't afford food because it was high school
Yes.
pay.
Yes.
Where was it and what?
I don't remember the paper. It was somewhere near Harrisburg.
you don't remember the paper?
No, it's a small
Small
paper,
paper.
man. I literally graduated early, spent 2 months emailing every single newspaper like in the country.
The only other job you were going to consider taking after
No, I almost. Oh well,
except
I
for
mean,
nextimpulsesports.biz.
Is
Is
but the
Next
point-
Impulse Sports still going?
Was it
still
was it the
articles
Patriot
being
News?
published without a byline, and I have no idea who's doing it. Was it what?
Was it the Patriot News?
No, It was just it was just the name of a local paper. It's like some town. But the point being, like, if you had told me then I would get a job at CBS, cover the NFL for 5 seasons, go to 2 Super Bowls, cover the Warriors for the second half of a season that they won an NBA championship and actually be there at Oracle, write about women's soccer and all this, like, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. Even if you told me in 5 years I would want out. So, like, I don't know if there's much to complain about.
What was your favorite thing that you covered?
It was probably the NBA Finals. Just being able to like watch LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant against each other, and like covering.
You know what Next Impulse Sports is doing? So I know this. I know this because no. It's all their stuff are like it's like athletes who destroyed their careers due to gambling problems. It's everything's about gambling. What it is they are being paid to put links, because I've been getting a bunch of these emails about my Facebook page. The people are like offering advertising. They're being paid to drop links in there for like SEO. So like, it's like the same year he splashed hundreds of thousands on poker nights and bookmakers is hyperlinked to bookmakers.bet. So like somebody's getting, so the site's shut down and somebody's just cranking out like gambling SEO articles in order to make some like cheap ad revenue.
I'm going to miss Brinson interrupting me for stuff that nobody absolutely cares about. The favorite thing I covered, Breech, to answer your question, NBA Finals. I think like covering the NBA is so much different than sitting in a closed press box. Like you were just sitting amongst the fans, and like the atmosphere at Oracle was incredible. The other thing though I would say would be the most recent Super Bowl, because I knew at that time my time at CBS was coming to an end, whether it was that year or the next year. It was pretty cool to like be able to soak that up for one, knowing it was my last one.
So since you knew you were done, is that why you turned in an $11,000 expense report and you were getting the $50?
Before we move
on, no comment.
I think it is important too to ask Ryan. I'll start with you. Why don't you grade Sean's time at CBS?
In my mind, he is the Doug Peterson of CBS Sports bloggers.
So the 9th best.
9th best. That's right. You're the 9th best.
You don't have to rank him against the rest of us. Give him
I'm kidding. I just wanted to make a joke about his coaching list that ultimately got him fired and forced him to go to law school. I enjoyed working with Sean. I thought Sean did a really good job. Initially,
Ryan looks like Steve Buscemi on that the hello fellow kids gif.
Hello fellow high schoolers. I have my hat on backwards for those of you who can't see me. I enjoyed working with Sean. I thought he did a really good job. And what I was going to say before Brinson made fun of my style is that initially when I joined, it was just 3 of us, me, Brinson, and Josh Katzowitz. So we worked 12-hour shifts 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 3 of us going on and off. So it was good to get more people, and it was good to get more people you like working with. So I'll be honest, I didn't want Sean to join the podcast because he talks too much. We already have Brinson, but it's actually worked out. And I will say this. Breech is usually pretty neutral, even though he knows Brinson's probably right or wrong most of the time. But Sean actually will join me in pointing out Brinson's multitude of shortcomings.
Breech, what about you?
Oh, well, that's going to create an odd dynamic now that Sean's gone. There's going to be no 2-2 ties. There's going to be someone's always going to win and someone's always going to lose. I would give Sean an A. It was going to be an A-, but then I remembered that he challenged Brinson to a race in Fort Lauderdale, and I found that video. It's posted in there. We need to show our friends on YouTube, maybe.
We don't need to do that.
Brinson talking trash that whole night in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in May 2016, that he could beat Sean in a 40-yard race. Sean was so smug because he just knew it wasn't possible. I mean, Sean is 10 years younger than Brinson. Brinson, if this was something people were gambling on, Sean's odds would have been like -800. But Brinson insisted the whole night that he could win. And then I think
Breech, he insisted so much that he actually convinced Sean at one point that
it's literally about the button saying Brinson was so confident that entire night that he psyched me out to the point where I was just like, oh my God, I actually might lose and this is going to be so embarrassing.
Yep.
But, not the case though. And then it took me about half a second of running and looking back at him and realizing I have no idea what he was talking about.
And real quick, that night epitomized Sean that he is somebody who's go with the flow and all about fun. And that was kind of, you could tell that in his writing style. He's not just a bunch of Star Wars references. He's actually a really good writer. So it is sad that we are losing him. And no one's going to be here to challenge Brinson to foot races anymore, which is also disappointing. But, I think people who also want to get in the industry should take Sean's advice because, look, he was willing to start at the bottom at a high school paper, but then, landed covering a sport he wasn't familiar with just to get his foot in the door. And now, like he said, he's covered 2 Super Bowls and an NBA Finals. So I would say that's a pretty solid 5-year run.
All right, I'm going to give you a C+. No, I would give you a B+ because you beat me in a foot race. It would be an A-, but the foot race thing. What's that?
Are you still bitter?
No, I don't care. I mean, I'm annoyed by it. I wish the video went.
Did you actually think you were going to win?
Not in pants and barefoot in the streets of Fort Lauderdale.
You bring this up every time. I was in pants and barefoot as well.
I considered a win that I didn't have like a spare heroin needle jammed into my foot there. Like I didn't step on a needle.
Pointing out while we were lining up to race, while you guys were lining up to race, 2 randos who were smoking cigarettes came walking up and raced and also beat Brinson.
It was Prisco and EK.
Prisco DLC.
Prisco was chief in cigs and smoked me in a race.
There was also a tortoise that beat Brinson.
Yeah, I wasn't running fast. Anyway, Sean. You know what? I remember Sean because I think it's just natural when you're in this job and somebody new shows up, you're a little territorial, right? Like you don't want to be like, oh, cool, like a new guy's here, like, hey, like let's hang out. Like glad you're here. You probably, typically speaking with the new person is, like they're grabbing stories, et cetera, et cetera. You don't. Yeah, nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants a new guy. Like when I was surprised that Pete Prisco was nice when I got there. So I think that we were probably all cautious when Sean joined. I'm sure Ryan and I have. I don't know if we had him with Breech. I know Ryan and I have like a bunch of old conversations. We're like, I don't know about this guy. But Sean definitely endeared himself to us.
We had conversations about Sean.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. As Brinson's saying, when you're new, you're like over eager. You don't really understand the boundaries. I also wasn't on the blogging schedule, so I was like always like there with other people. So like in hindsight now, it's like I probably tried to take stories that you guys wanted. Because I have no idea how it works, and it's just like you're trying to work hard because your bosses are in that room.
And you also in this job, you don't start working and then get to know who you work with, right? Like you need one of those late summer summits down in Fort Lauderdale where everybody gets together, gets wasted, and does a 40-yard dash.
The first time I met you guys was at the Super Bowl, so we had been working together for close to a year at that point.
Yeah,
so, and to change my question, Breech was like, "What was your favorite part?" It literally was probably the summits, not the actual like doing the actual work stuff in the office, but like the dinners and the nights out drinking, and also the Super Bowls. And being able to do that, like that was always felt like the reward.
See, Sean loved jesters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. And like, I mean, I consider you like a really good friend now. If I got divorced and got remarried, like I'd invite you to my wedding.
Yeah. So
I thought you were going to say if you got divorced, Sean would be your attorney.
I thought he was going to say he wanted to marry me. So I thought yours.
It all happened.
I am looking for a wealthier second wife. So I mean that might.
Well, give me 10 years then. No, the thing I was going to say about me leaving the industry and like what I'll miss, it's not the actual job itself. I will miss the podcasts. I will not miss writing about sports. But the thing I will miss the most are the people. And that's primarily you guys because we have worked together now for 5.5 years.
That's crazy. That's a long time.
I mean, it's when I was talking to EK,
especially
I was like,
in this industry.
Yeah.
When I was talking to EK, I mean, I have friends who graduated with me who are in journalism, not in sports journalism, but just in journalism. And like, they're on their like 6th like job at this point with like layoffs and all this. So I've been incredibly fortunate that I've been able to stay at this place for as long as I have. And that you guys have all stayed at this place during that time span. And that's the only thing, to be honest, that I'll miss is having those daily conversations and being able to see you guys. But besides that, like today it's bittersweet because of that. But besides that, I'm very excited to move on.
Sean, let me ask you this because you said
you're not to get the bleep out.
You're not going to miss the writing at all. And I think people who are listening and people always think, oh, that's such a cool job. You guys have such a cool job. And it does seem like you got kind of burnt out towards the end. Would you tell someone who's trying to get into sports journalism? Would you be like, here's what you need to do? Or
You can tell that Breech hasn't read the rundown because that question is literally in the rundown.
Is it?
There's a mailbag question from Facebook that's literally in the rundown.
How many
I
times?
think the British
Don't answer.
No. That question was how you got into sports journalism. Yours is different. No, I mean, if you want to do it, try to do it. Like, I don't regret that I spent 5.5 years doing this. Like, I think it lived up to expectations to a certain extent. Expectations. The thing I would say is, like, you don't know if you're going to get burned out and if you truly love it until you actually do it. And I did it for long enough that I was able to figure that out.
I also think there's something too, and I think this applies to like any job, but you know, if you're at one place and you do the same thing for a long period of time, like 5 years just writing, and for you too, I think when you got into the media at CBS, it's been pretty stagnant for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like just in terms of like what you've been covering. I was seeing the other day when we were on that Skype call for Ryan and I and Breech too. Like there's been different. Like you can really segment the stretches that we've been at CBS. Like the first 3 years, there wasn't anybody. There was like no mainstream media blogging. So we were sort of at the forefront, and like everything was changed. So that part made it easier. And then we shifted to podcasting. So I mean, there's been video. It's easy to get burned out. I mean, you're just banging out blog posts all day. It's brutal.
Yeah, and the podcast actually extended my time here, I think, because that was like the breath of fresh air that I needed when I was starting to get extremely burned out. And that's probably why I stuck around for the last 2 years, is because I actually enjoyed the podcast and being able – it was just a much more easier way to actually like build a relationship with like listeners, as opposed to like people read blogs. Like they're not looking at the byline. Like we in media look at bylines, but like for the most part, people just want the news and they're not looking at actually who wrote the article.
So you said this was your dream job coming out of Cal. So 3 years of law school, 5.5 years after that, 8.5 years from now, what job are you going to switch to then after you're burned out on law?
I don't even know what I want to do with the law. The thing I was going to add, and I forgot, that reminded me, like I still love writing, and I don't think that will ever change. Like I think I will still write in some form, whether it's about movies on my newsletter or whether it's like years from now, like trying to like once in a while just write sports articles freelance when I feel like I'm in the mood to actually do so. It was like I lost my passion for writing about sports, and that's so like I think if
I think 6 years,
the
6 years is about the right time for that.
The 3 people out there who like me as a writer, I would say that like there will be things that I still write. For example, the newsletter. For the last 3 years, I've been writing a fiction book that I'm hoping part of the reason I'm taking a month off for school is that I can spend more time trying to polish that up. So like there will be things that I still write, and like I'm not going to stop being a writer.
Science fiction?
Yes.
I knew it. Too easy.
What's the book called?
The Game of Thrones.
My Words Are Weapons?
No. Were you trying to paraphrase that Tyrion quote?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to get your book information.
Words Are Weapons. It'll be
a brand new match made in space. Like Sean McFly, Wagner-McGough. Sean Wagner-McFly.
There it is.
That's what the main character's name is.
Sean Wagner-McFly?
Yeah.
I like
no,
it.
It's not.
Okay, we're gonna. You know what? We'll take a break now. I'm gonna do the thing that DeBo wouldn't expect, and take the break now. And when we come back, we will talk about some of Sean's worst tweets, favorite topics, and we will answer Facebook/mailbag questions about Sean. Okay, so by the way, Breech has pulled up Sean's first tweet to me, and Sean notes that I didn't reply.
It embodies Sean's Twitter habits, that very first tweet to you.
And for what it's worth, Brinson waited, I want to say, like
I definitely wasn't following you. Like
a year, I want to say it took you. Maybe when we met in person at the Super Bowl, I think is when you started following.
I feel like maybe earlier than that. I don't like to immediately follow people. And I feel bad about this because like I've worked like with people who are like they didn't follow me, like what's going on, what the deal? But like I'm over it now, like it doesn't bother me at all. But I don't want to I didn't want to immediately follow you and then you quit and like go to back to Next Impulse Sports.
or you hate me and like you're just like why? No, I get it. And also at the time you have to remember I was like unverified with probably like 400 followers. You know, like there was no reason to follow me.
Yeah, that's a little degrading.
Ryan and Breech did follow me right away though. I remember on my first day.
You're welcome. That's what kind of people we are. It says a lot about our character.
That was actually a foreshadowing for the people who would be nice to me over 5 years more than others.
Whatever.
Shot at you.
So some of your favorite tweets and topics. So DeBo actually went through and like searched you on Twitter. So we'll talk about the Bears and Jay Cutler. You have a obscene amount of Jay Cutler tweets.
Should I read these in my voice?
Yes.
November 17th, 2014. Just made my creative writing class talk about Jay Cutler for 45 minutes. And I did that because we
It's
had
hard
to
to
write.
believe you only had 400 followers at that point in time.
And they were all like people who like the Cal football team because I covered that for the student newspaper. No, we actually had to write 2 essays in that creative writing class, and I didn't know what to write for mine because I'm a boring person with nothing interesting to write about myself. So I wrote a thing about why I love Jay Cutler. It was called "I Love Jay Cutler."
So as a student
That
at
was
Cal,
the title?
No, sorry. The title was "A Love Blitz for Number 6."
Oh my god.
Oh my God. I Love Jay Cutler would have been
as
better.
a student at
You
Cal, you
wrote
could have
a
written about
paper
Aaron
called-
Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun
Breech?
Jackson,
Jim Breech.
Jim Breech, and you went with Jay Cutler.
Then you wrote, wait, say it again. Say the name of the title again.
A
Love.
Love Blitz for Number 6.
Yeah, I'm cutting that one and making it a sound drop. And then what's your next tweet on Jay Cutler?
Wait a second. You can't just gloss over this. Why would the 20 kids in that creative writing class, fictional writing class, I would imagine, right? Why would they
No,
want to
it's essay writing, nonfiction essay writing.
Did you get an F in the class?
No, I actually got an A, even though I barely talked. It was my friend Michael Rosen got really mad at me because we talked equal amount, and he got an A-, and I got an A somehow.
What? Oh, you're right. You're right, Ryan. Good catch. What was the plot of A Love Blitz for Number 6? Because
It was literally, I wrote a however long it needed to be, probably 3 pages about why I love Jay Cutler.
No, we heard the title. What's the point? What was in the actual? What'd you write?
What's the plot?
I wrote this in 2014. You think I still have it?
Talk about
I actually
Jay
think I
Cutler
might have it somewhere in a
Still
folder.
talk about Jay Cutler today.
Yes. Okay. Anyone can go read my article on Jay Cutler when the Bears cut him, and those are all the reasons why I love Jay Cutler.
Give us one.
No, but it's a creative writing class. That means it's a fictional story. So
No. It's not the creative writing class that was nonfiction essay writing.
Okay.
Nonfiction
So
essay
you
writing.
wrote
I didn't write like a fanfic about him. I literally wrote like a
That's why
column.
I was like, oh my God, did you write a Jay Cutler romance novel?
Jay
Like,
Cutler won the
that
Super
is-
Bowl.
Yeah.
And he
No.
married me.
No,
And
Kristen and Jay
Jay
adopted
swept
me.
Sean off his feet,
By the way,
carried him to the bedroom.
okay, we'll read the next tweet because that actually
Yeah.
follows what you just said.
October 11th, 2015. I'm yours, Jay Cutler.
I can't envision a situation where I would ever tweet.
Who did
that
the Bears
about.
play on that game? I guess that's the
How do you not know?
October 11th, 2015. I'm pulling
Did
it
it
up
every
right now.
Sunday?
I mean, I imagine he
Sean,
threw a
I
fourth
always
quarter.
thought your love affair was like not actual love, but I was incorrect.
What
They're
a
playing the
weird-
Chiefs, and they won.
Oh, that was a great game. The Bears were down, I think, 17-3 with 6 minutes left against Alex Smith and Andy Reid, Jamal Charles, and they pulled out 2 touchdowns. Jay Cutler threw 2 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes of the game, and they won.
Was that the year?
I'm not ashamed.
Was that the year that he was replaced by Josh McCown, who ended up being better than Cutler?
No, that was 2013. This is when they were bad with John Fox.
Oh, they won 18-17, and Jay Cutler. Oh yeah,
Matt
you can see
Forte.
why you're in love with him. He completed 26 of 45 passes
Wow.
for 2 touchdowns,
Just win, baby.
2 fumbles.
Well, one of the fumbles was literally on the touchdown pass.
No one cares.
Oh my God.
Next
Oh, yeah,
tweet.
just 1 fumble lost. Okay.
I'll show you guys the touchdowns.
Next tweet.
I probably shouldn't have closed it.
Oh, it's 5
October
days later.
16th, 2015. I am in Chicago. Where does Jay Cutler hang out? I don't think I got many responses.
Wait, so you were so thrilled with that win on October 11th that you flew to Chicago to stalk Jay Cutler? Because this is 5 days later.
Yes,
Is that what happened?
that's exactly what happened. No, my sister was coaching at Notre Dame, and that was literally when I took a red eye, and I literally just landed in Chicago, and I was waiting for the bus to take me to South Bend.
Mm,
I didn't actually spend any time in Chicago, unfortunately, that time.
okay.
Did Jay Cutler or anyone respond to you to let you know where he hangs out?
No. And if you guys still know where Jay Cutler hangs out besides his house, wherever he lives, you can still tweet at me.
Yeah, well, Sean, he lives in Nashville.
Because Breech needs to fulfill his end of
You
the bet.
still know that bet.
Time out. I'm going to get you the Jay Cutler autograph, and I would have gotten it sooner. I was going to get it last week, But I wasn't going to risk my life. We all know what Cutler's been dealing with. He's got that murderous raccoon at his house. I'm not dealing with that. Thing's killing chickens.
It was actually Breech killing Jay Cutler's chickens.
To get Sean's autograph. I wanted Jay to sign it in chicken blood. But eventually I will get it for you, Sean, and I will mail it to you, and you will love it as much as you love Cutler.
Do we want to talk about the Bears this year? I don't really want to talk about the Bears.
No, I don't want to talk about the Bears.
Terrible.
Let's
Yeah,
move
I
it.
don't. That depresses me.
Well, that's
This is
what
supposed to be
DeBo's
a-
rundown was we're supposed to do. So Patrick Mahomes, this one is terrible. This is Sean's tweet from October 2nd, 2018. I'll be honest. Patrick Mahomes is the exact thing I thought Jay Cutler would be. Like, stop
By the way, I was wrong. It's better if you read it in that voice than me actually.
Stop
read
it. What are you talking about? Mahomes is exact. Like, you thought Jay Cutler would be Patrick Mahomes? In
Yes.
what world was that going to happen?
No world.
No world.
In my love blitz for number 6.
But why would you, Jay Cutler? This is so stupid.
It's the strong arm. Like, okay, when Mahomes
Matthew
came out,
Stafford is what you thought Jay Cutler would be.
don't tell me what I thought. I mean, you can criticize what I thought, but
Well,
this
no
is
wonder you're
literally what I
leading the
thought.
industry if you thought Jay Cutler would be Patrick Mahomes.
Well, let me just – one time Sean put Jay Cutler on the Bears Mount Rushmore.
One time, this was like 2 months ago or a month ago, Breach.
That is why he's leaving. He didn't get fired because of Doug Peterson. He got fired for putting Jay Cutler on the team's franchise 5.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, here's a great tweet from August 17th, 2018. You'll recall in the 2018 season, Patrick Mahomes would go on to throw for 5,000 passing yards, 50 passing touchdowns, shatter all expectations.
And only
Win-
10 interceptions or something?
win the NFL, win the league's MVP. And here's what Sean had to say previewing Patrick Mahomes' season. I love Patrick Mahomes as a prospect. I think he's going to be great.
Done,
I also
done,
think
done.
he might lead the league in interceptions this year. Womp, womp, womp. Actually, you know what?
Tom, Star Wars is not.
What happened there? Oh, I got rid of it?
I'm not going to miss this.
There.
The best part is the first one you hit was about Star Wars. And
I know, I
was
saved that
intentional.
for you and I blew it. I labeled it wrong.
Yeah, that was a bad take. If you go through my Twitter feed, you will find lots of bad football takes that have not aged well, I'm sure. I also, by the way, just for the record, I criticized the Chiefs. I criticized Houston, and also Chicago for all of those trades up to get the quarterbacks. So 2 of those have not aged well. I thought all of them gave up too much. In
That's why he
hindsight,
got fired.
no, it's because I ranked Doug Peterson 9th out of 32 on a coaching list, Ryan.
That's right.
I really
so
can't. I can't reiterate this enough.
here's some.
Tweet for tweet. Sean is one of the worst tweeters on the planet.
That's a great call.
Go to the first Star Wars tweet as an
All
example.
right, this is
I don't even know what this is referring to as the thing, and I wish
April
I knew.
14th, 2012. Star Wars night.
Clearly tweeted while he was naked and staring in the mirror.
1:27 in the morning
Oh,
in college. 100% was drunk.
so your first thought was, let me go to Twitter and write these 3 words that no one.
Hey, hold on. What's that?
Star Wars is not that nerdy.
No, Star Wars is not that nerdy.
It's not. Everyone's seen it.
Everyone's seen it.
Everyone.
This guy's
That's from Parks and Rec, as Leslie Knope is mocking her husband Ben Wyatt, because he's a Star Wars dork, just like Sean. And then I'll let you read this next one.
March 11th, 2017, which everyone remembers as the spring of Sean seeing Rogue One every single weekend.
That was honestly one of the worst stretches of your Twitter, and that's it.
God damn it. The movie theater literally across the street just got Rogue One, and I have 2 free movie passes. Swore I was done. This is true because I used to live across the street from the new Parkway in Oakland. If they ever reopen after Corona, people who live in the Bay Area should go there. It's a really cool, like, small theater, and they only show movies like months after they were like in real theaters because they're a very small independent theater. And I had seen Rogue One like 8 times, as everyone remembers, and I thought I was done seeing it in theaters because it left. And then the new Parkway got it, and we had won trivia there a few times. And if you win trivia, you get free movie passes. So
At what point did you get to a number where you're like, I'm probably not going to be able to ever admit this in public that I saw it this many times? Was it 6?
well, the thing is, Breach, is I've lost count. So
So it might be more than 8.
I saw it in theaters 12 times. Like, I don't know how many times I've watched it at home.
12 times.
And this was before
You-
movie
you
Maps,
do
so I
realize
was paying
they-
out of pocket for this.
So you paid nearly $100. I bet was it $5 movies in Oakland?
No, it was probably over $100.
You
Oh
are
my
aware of
goodness.
how terrible a person this makes you, right?
Over $100, and he literally spent one full day watching the same thing over and over and over again.
I'm not ashamed. Like the thing is, Ryan, like the next tweet, Ryan thinks it's like embarrassing. I should delete it. Oh no, I stand I stand by that. That's
Oh
just
my
me.
God. All right.
And you know who
This is,
Sean hated more than
and
Jar
this-
Jar Binks?
But who I hated?
Yeah,
Who?
BB6.
BB-8.
Aha! Sean's tweet from 2015. I'm excited for the new Star Wars movie, but this soccer ball droid is going to
Ooh.
be the absolute worst.
Has not
Actually,
aged well.
BB-8 was a key character, Sean.
I
Would
agree.
you like to apologize to BB-8 publicly for
I
that one?
would like to apologize. I actually think I amended that take 3 years later by saying BB-8 better than R2D2.
would you like to apologize
Oh,
to
I mean,
Patrick
that's
Mahomes for
crazy.
the Jay Cutler take?
A lot of
No, I think I've done enough to make up for that.
Here's some tweets from Sean about his favorite band, Brand New. This one's pathetic.
Oh, this is one of the best days of my life.
August 17th, 2017. Almost crying in a cafe because I'm listening to a new Brand New album on a crappy Facebook live stream, but still, for the first time since 2008. Get
Literally a top 5 day of my life.
Can you imagine being at the counter ordering your coffee and you look over and see some dumbass
Oh, they love me at Sweet Bar. I was a
11 a.m. on a Tuesday crying as he looks at his laptop? And you're like, oh my God, what is going on with that guy? Did your dog die? Did you have a family emergency? No, I'm listening to this amazing song from Brand New.
The best thing is, as I said, it was like on a Facebook live stream. So someone was like recording the CD being played on their speakers. So it was the worst quality that you could possibly imagine.
And you said this is a top 5 day in your life. Didn't you say you saw Rogue One 12 times? So by just that nature, this couldn't rank any higher than top 12?
No, this Brand New greater than Rogue One. Come on. Breech.
Whoa. Well, I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm
not,
just
even,
trying to get
not even close.
Brinson, you
Wait.
consider yourself something of a musicophile. to make it a
Absolutely.
word. When's the last time you came close to crying listening to music? Sober or otherwise, it doesn't matter.
I was sober. This was in the morning.
You were probably involving like Van Morrison and like a very
Like, what if I don't know much about Fish? Do they still release studio albums?
yeah, they dropped one like 3 weeks ago.
Okay, like what if Fish for like 10 years hadn't done a single like interview and like had
They broke
not
up.
talked-
They broke up for
had-
6 years.
and then they came back and released
Yeah,
an
oh,
album
that's
without
awesome.
without announcement, just like dropped it randomly.
I mean, they
Are you crying over that?
no.
I'm crying over that. Not for Fish, but
Breech, are you crying if Britney Spears brings you up on stage for your birthday?
Oh, tears everywhere, man.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh,
Paramore once brought me up on stage for a song. Did not cry.
Missed an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not here for the brand new crying. All right, so here's Sean from October 6, 2013.
At 3:49 a.m.
3:49 a.m. Failed to
At
do
12:49 a.m. Pacific time. I think
Oh,
DeBo
good
took
point,
these
good
screen
point.
grabs, so they're Eastern time.
Good point.
failed to do any homework, but went through Brand New's entire discography. Not an entirely wasteful night. No.
So this story is going to horrify you guys. It's not about this, but it's related. In August, drove to Vegas from Oakland with friends, had the entire car full. We drove pretty late, so it was the middle of the night. And at a certain point, when we had like 5 hours left in the drive, it's like a 9-hour drive, I went through Brand New's entire discography, much to their displeasure.
Did anyone jump out of the car while?
Yeah, no, I would open up a door and just like splay my body onto the hot Vegas, like hot, like Nevada pavement, hoping that my skull would rupture and I'd never have to hear Brand New again.
One of my friends is a Brand New fan, or not like me, but he was fine with it. One of my friends is such a troll. You probably get sung. He's been in your guys' mentions before. He's such a troll, whether to me or anyone, that he was encouraging me to do it because he knew it was going to piss off Michael and Zach so much.
And Michael and Zach are reasonable, competent human beings.
Yes.
All right, one more, and then we'll be done with this nonsense.
Yeah. This is from April 2nd, 2016. BRB, gonna go listen to Brand New and be emo after that game.
And we determined what game was that again?
We don't know.
Uh,
Oh, we said it might be the
Brand New
NCAA tournament from 2016.
But that wasn't the final. I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. As well.
Yeah, April 2nd, UNC beat Syracuse and Villanova beat Oklahoma. The Mariners won that day, so it wasn't the Mariners.
Maybe it was Happy Emo.
So you had Villanova and UNC as a.
That's my final pick, but I had UNC beating Villanova, and then I lost a bunch of money because of that.
I lost a bunch of money on UNC as well because my buddy Nathan and I were down in. Have I told the story? We're down in.
Tell the story.
We're down. I didn't know if I told it. I want to repeat it. We're down at Augusta at the Masters practice round, and we went to the practice round on Monday. We're like, all right, we got to find somewhere to watch Carolina versus Villanova, and we go and find this bar in downtown Augusta, and we both had a bunch of money on UNC because if UNC wins the title, you want to be able to at least like recoup some cash as a hedge, and Chris Brown hits that shot, and we just go bananas in this bar. The guys come in, are you guys Nova fans? We're like, no, NC State fans. It's the whole thing. And they're like, what the hell is the matter with these people?
Yeah, that was a rough moment for me, losing all that money.
I wonder what else it could have been. It has to be the Final Four games.
Who knows? He's listening to Brand New and crying. It could have been anything.
I could have been playing FIFA with my friend for all I know.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, your tweets are so terrible they could be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no telling what you're tweeting about. Okay, so now on to the Sean mailbag. DeBo, look, it's sad that Sean gave like a talk about missing everybody, and he didn't mention DeBo.
Well, because DeBo chose a wedding over my final day, and I'm still mad about that. Now, I love DeBo because, look, we remember this podcast before we had DeBo. I'm just speaking strictly on a professional level. The podcast before DeBo here was not professional. How it would work, because it was a daily podcast and Brinson knew he had to get one out every single day, is whoever was writing in the PM, we used to have AM and PM shifts, Brinson would just log on to Slack and be like, hey, do you want to podcast in an hour? And I would say yes, because that would get me out of blogging for roughly an hour. But there was no rundown. It was just like, what are we talking about? He's like, oh, whatever. We'll figure it out. And that's how it used to go. And if you were listening to like even the HQ show that we did during free agency, at the beginning, Brinson was in charge of the rundown, and Ryan and I used to text individually, like, when are we going to get the rundown? What's your over-under? We'd get it like 5 minutes before the show went on. So DeBo, and I'm not just saying this to suck up to DeBo, DeBo literally changed the podcast more than anyone, I think.
And in a twist of irony, DeBo now hates you for ranking Doug Peterson under Sean McVay.
But DeBo's too nice to actually say anything about it, which
he's thinking it though.
It wasn't too nice to say something to us about it.
Yeah, he said something when you weren't on.
I'm glad Sean's leaving.
That's a very poignant tribute to DeBo, and I don't even disagree with it. Like,
I'm actually surprised that Sean didn't cry when he said it.
I know. Well, you talk about like grinding through and like being just like, I mean, this is the 3rd year now that we've done this daily podcast. It started in April of I think 2017, and like the first year it was like it was very exciting and new and different and all that. By the 2nd year when you're doing this, it's like you're grinding on this daily show, and you would be like, oh my God, I don't want to do a daily podcast. Like, I don't have any more ideas. And so you just find whoever was on that night and be like, hey, can we talk about football for 30 minutes? And so of course, like, DeBo makes it better because he plans stuff out and we collaborate and it's a very nice work style marriage, I think.
We collaborate and listen.
Oh, I was thinking exactly that. By the way, Vanilla Ice is going to have a concert somewhere. I think you're allowed to go listen to it.
Ice called it off, man. He called it off.
Oh, wear your mask, people.
He was going to have the only concert in Texas, but then if Vanilla Ice is calling things off, it's time to put a mask on.
So, mailbag time for Sean. Victor Garcia. Oh, this is why I said this about DeBo, is that DeBo stealthily, because Sean had told us, but he did, he was waiting for his big announcement on Friday because Sean has to make a big deal out of it. Can't just, go about his business. Can't be humble and just do your work and just keep your head down and grind and step away. Has to make a huge deal out of it. Over under likes on Sean's
Jesus Christ.
Tweet.
This is a depressing.
Well, we'll see. Like if you get like a lock and for a retweet.
That's true. And that's the thing. What I've realized in the 5 years of working in this industry, for me, whether or not my tweet actually like does well is dependent on like 4 people who follow me and if they retweet me. Brinson, Lock and for is number 1. Yeah. Brinson's somewhere in the middle. Matt Moore is really also has a lot of reach if he retweets it, and that's like it.
Let me ask this, because Brinson asked for the over-under. Brinson, are you promising to retweet the tweet? Because that matters where we put the over-under.
The Brinson bump for Sean.
Then I put the over-under at 100 likes.
Ooh, I think it's higher than that. I was gonna say 250.
What?
You're like
I'm glad you guys are that confident. I was gonna say like 20.
20
Wait.
likes.
I mean, look, how many people actually like are genuinely going to miss me in sports
listen,
media?
I wasn't paying
I
attention.
mean, then 20 is the over/under. Sure, like that's. You have
I'm just saying, like, I'm very much aware of, like, I understand my standing in the industry. I'm not delusional here.
You have 3,300 tweets. I mean, 3,300 followers. Like, surely
I thought you were gonna say I had 3,300 tweets and make fun of me for that. I was like, how
you
many?
have 42,000 tweets, which is actually low.
That's exactly what it was. You have
120, I think.
1,000.
120,000 tweets.
How many do I have? You had to
I
guess.
would guess like 5,000.
Some more.
I'll say.
If you want to say how many
27.
how many you have that are like personal tweets that aren't like CBS work related, it's probably less than like 200.
Way less, yeah. I have
Yeah.
8,127 tweets.
Like you're just tweeting your articles or like your HQ clips.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so where's the long? Okay, anyway, back to DeBo managed to stealthily put together like a mailbag on Facebook. He didn't want to spoil the news for everybody. He's like, hey, like we're gonna ask some questions about Sean, and people ask questions. Victor Garcia asked his top 5 restaurants in Chicago. Chicago born and raised here, and one of his picks is he's from Chicago, if I remember correctly.
So not from Chicago. I am from Seattle. That said, Chicago, I've been there twice, I would say.
Are you counting the time where you landed and tweeted
No,
Jay Cutler and
no.
wanted to know where he was hanging out?
No, I'm talking about like having actually spent at least one night there. It's been twice because I had a buddy who used to go to Northwestern Law when my sister at Notre Dame, so I would always package the 2 trips into one. I don't have a top 5 restaurants because, to be honest, I was mostly very drunk in Chicago.
You
And-
named 5 restaurants in Chicago.
No, but upon seeing this question in the rundown, I did text my 2 friends, one who still lives in Chicago, one who used to, about a taco place that we found at like 2 a.m. that was like open all night. That ended up being pretty good. I got a couple chicken tacos and I got a frozen margarita. And my friend spent his morning at work trying to find this instead of working. Thank you to Ian. It's called Velvet Taco. That is the only Chicago restaurant I have a very deep memory of because it was 2 a.m. and I was hungry and I got a couple tacos. Tacos were not as good as they were in the Bay Area, but you can't complain when you get tacos at 2 a.m.
But I think AK and I are going to go to Chicago for our 10th wedding anniversary.
I was going to say Chicago is my favorite American city that I've been to, though.
Mine too. I really, really love Chicago. I've been there oddly a bunch of times, but when we first started dating, I was working with this travel website. First started dating the second time, and somebody flew me to Chicago to do a review of the Sears Tower, the new observation deck.
Someone paid you to go to Chicago to write a review of the Sears Tower
Is
observation.
that
Is
new
this
observation?
review online? I want to read the Will Brinson review of
The
Sears
website's
Tower.
now. No, it was just a story about the because you know what I'm talking about, like there's a YouTube of it, and like I'm like freaking out, and AK was filming it, but we flew bought her a ticket, flew to Chicago, and we just had a really good time. We actually hung out with Tom Fernelli.
Oh, okay.
Got beers, went to a Cubs game, and went out to eat, and so we're like, you know what, maybe because we just don't know if we can travel. We don't know what the deal with international travel is going to be a year from now. Like
When's your 10th wedding anniversary?
June 11th, 2021.
Oh boy, that's rough.
How do you know you guys will still be together?
Oh,
I mean, it's a fair question considering earlier in this podcast, Brinson literally just said
Second wife, right?
he's looking for a richer wife.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was just curious if you guys think it's a good trip. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, I love Chicago.
Who gets stuck with Robbie? How does that work?
One of my in-laws, my mom will take him.
By the way, you guys will never guess the last time I went to Chicago, the second time, why I went to Chicago.
See, brand new. Duh.
Yep.
Next
Yep.
question. You'll never guess.
That's exactly right.
And you were right.
Speaking of Robbie, God, I just got a text from Wake County Public School System. Oh boy.
They're canceled for the next
They
3
expect to
years.
start the school year using a blend of in-person instruction and online instruction.
That sounds like my college career.
All right, what does Ryan O'Neal have for Sean?
Ryan O'Neal asked Sean, would he rather, by the way, good job listing one restaurant in Chicago, Sean. Ryan O'Neal asked, would he rather A, never see the Bears win another Super Bowl, or B, have Patrick Mahomes never win another Super Bowl?
I mean, this is easy. It's B. I mean, does this mean the Bears? I would rather never see Mahomes win another Super Bowl than never see the Bears win a Super Bowl. Like if
He
I go,
tricked you. It doesn't say the Bears are going to win a Super Bowl. If
yes,
Mahomes never wins one.
but there's a chance for it. I don't want to give myself a 0% chance. I like this 1% chance that I have.
Here's the thing I would say is that it's I guess it's different since you're getting out of sports media, but like you're fawning over Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes only wins one Super Bowl, he's going to be in Aaron Rodgers territory.
Ooh. Sean Connery retirement.
Okay, in the year 2035, when Mahomes retires with one Super Bowl, whatever social media platform we're on that has replaced Twitter, everyone can tweet at me, and I will reply.
Different social media.
Okay, well, everyone.
Everyone can blorg at you.
My point being, I have been free to make outlandish takes like Doug Peterson at number 9, and if Eagles fans after week 2, when the Eagles beat the Rams, are going to tweet at me, I'm going to not care whatsoever because I will be studying for like my contracts class.
Oh, right. Bragging.
Real quick though, Ryan O'Neal did ask another question because I saw the Facebook thread, and DeBo probably deleted it because he knew I'd probably talk way too long. Sorry, Ryan. Who's my second favorite band? And if the answer is
Honest Mouse, moving on.
If the answer is currently, like as in who is coming out with an album next that I'd be most excited to hear.
Don't you talk too long.
It would be Julian Baker. Yes, Brinson, I know. It's my last podcast, and I'm just going to do it. If you're asking for, like, all time, though, it'd either be Death Cab or Modest Mouse or Brad.
No one's asking, but thank you.
Ryan O'Neal asked. Don't be rude to Ryan O'Neal.
Thanks, Ryan.
Mac
Are those
Martin has a
crickets?
question.
Those are crickets.
Oh, Sean got cricketed.
The best part is, too, guys, everyone who's listening to this, I am being replaced by a sound machine. Like, they're not going to replace me. They are literally, it's Brinson's right finger that is going to.
It's actually my left finger.
Left hand.
That sounded a little.
What a big jam! Wallace took it in his hands and said,
I just pulled the Brinson too. The arrow going the wrong way, not doing the like reverse camera thing.
So the guy who hates Sean to the point that he can now subscribe to the podcast and hates Dickie V. This is the worst episode ever.
Mac Martin asks, which would Sean rather have? Mitch Trubisky. This is a good question. Mitch Trubisky wins MVP and earns a Super Bowl berth in 2020, but he will play the duration of his ensuing 6-year, $40 million per year extension as well as he did in 2019, or have Josh Allen win multiple Super Bowls and MVPs and average 350 plus yards and 3 touchdowns through the air on his way to a Hall of Fame career.
So when I read this question, I interpret Super Bowl berth doesn't mean he's that for sure going to lose. It means that it's up in the air. Like he might win or he might lose that game, correct?
Sure.
So I would take this first scenario because I would look, if you're telling me there's a roughly 50% chance.
Would you still take it if you knew you were going to lose the Super Bowl?
No, because like I'm
50% because you're going to be playing Patrick Mahomes.
That literally, I was just thinking that too. That's going to be the worst part when it's Mahomes who's tearing my heart out. No, if I knew they were going to lose, I would not take that scenario whatsoever because I can't. I'm the kind of person who can't really enjoy things if I know that like it ends terribly. So like I would not be able to enjoy their NFC Championship.
Well, if they're playing the Ravens or they're playing the Chiefs, there's a 10 to 15% chance they win. So it's not 0.
I would take it. No, I would take that. I think the experience of having a chance to actually win the Super Bowl is something that I would take.
Because the next 6 years is going to be all Mitch Trubisky, and there's almost.
And they're going to be terrible. They're going to be the thing is that they're not going to be good in the 6 years that they're paying.
But my point is that even if they drafted Trevor Lawrence, whoever that quarterback is, over those next 6 years, they're probably still not going to the Super Bowl. So I would take it 10 to 15%.
Yeah, I agree. I give myself a shot to win that game.
Milton Sousa asks, oh God, why? Favorite and least favorite brand new song?
Luckily, Brinson it's an easy answer for me, so it won't take long. Least
there
favorite.
Is no least favorite.
No, least favorite is pretty much most of their songs on their first album, which is very pop punky when they were like 18. I don't really connect with. It's Secondary, which is somewhere near the end of their first album. And my favorite song is probably DeGosser. which I always say is the quintessential brand new song if I were to show one person to try to describe what their sound is like. But I could also make an argument for Limousine, which I think is their best written song.
Okay.
I agree with that 100%.
That was the most concise answer Sean has ever given in his 5.5 years.
In this essay, Sports. I will. No, that was it.
Sean, it's like we rated out which mailbag question will Sean spend the least amount of time on, and that one was plus 40 billion to be the shortest answer from Sean. Dylan Hager,
I'm a considerate. Okay, go ahead.
Go to Taco Bell order.
So I haven't been to Taco Bell.
I don't eat Taco Bell. Only our
No. Seriously, I haven't been to Taco Bell since I was 16 years old. When I was almost 17, I was. Huh?
What?
Huh? Anyway,
when I was almost 17, I was diagnosed as gluten intolerant, which takes out most of the stuff at Taco Bell. That said, if I were to go to Taco Bell and I could order whatever I want, I've never had this, but it always looks good when I see the commercials. I love Doritos. I would like to have one of those Dorito shell tacos, having never had one.
Here's my question. What's your favorite flavor of Doritos?
Cool Ranch.
It has to be cool.
Do you practice a gluten-free lifestyle?
Yeah, since I was 16.
Sean, if you ever go to Taco Bell, they're technically called Doritos Locos tacos.
What were you ordering from that taco truck you were always eating at?
Tacos with corn tortillas. Tacos are usually gluten-free unless you're going to like an super American place that uses flour.
So all street tacos with corn are gluten-free?
For the most part, yeah.
Huh. I guess that makes total sense.
Most Mexican
food,
food,
Brinson.
Mexican food is pretty easy to do. Unless like burritos are off because they use flour tortillas. And the other thing you have to worry about is like potential sauces, but for the most part, they're not thickening it with wheat.
So my wife is doing I don't know if it's gluten-free or she's like doing no carbs, which is, I think that's fairly similar, right?
Well, you can eat carbs if you're gluten-free.
Oh, because corn.
There's
right?
gluten-free, or there's gluten-free substitutes. Like they make gluten-free bread, they make gluten-free pasta.
Yeah, we ain't paying for that stuff.
Paying for that.
Stuff, man. My sister-in-law, or like my stepsister-in-law, was like showing my wife. She's like, "Look at all this stuff." It's like at Whole Foods, like $700 a month, gluten-free bread. It's ridiculous.
So wait a second. You can eat Doritos though?
Yeah, there's a couple flavors I can't.
So what happens if you overload on gluten?
My face will break out, and I will have digestive issues. But like if it was just digestive issues, I probably over the years would have cheated at times when I wanted something. But it's not like an allergy, or like an allergy is like, oh, you have a bad reaction, but it's not like harmful to you long term. It's like actively harmful to me in the long term if I were to do it. Like it lines my intestines and like doesn't let me absorb nutrients from food. So that's why I don't do it. It's like if someone told you something is poison, you just wouldn't eat it.
Like beer?
I mean, how good does it taste?
Exactly.
Alcohol's poison. That's where Ryan was going with that.
So you don't drink beer?
No, they actually, since I started versus now, like, and this applies to everything, including beer, the options are like incredible. Like when I first started trying to go to a restaurant and asking them, people had no idea what it was.
Omission Pale Ale is a gluten-free beer.
Yeah, well, I don't know if this needs to turn into a gluten-free talk, but a lot of beer companies now do this thing where
somebody is sick of you. They've already turned this podcast.
That's true. Oh, they did not listen to this podcast. A lot of gluten-free beers now, what they do is they make it the same as normal beer, but they add an enzyme after the process that removes the gluten. It is kind of controversial, so I will drink those. A lot of people who are gluten intolerant won't drink it because it's not FDA approved. So like those beers don't market themselves as gluten-free. They market it as gluten reduced because they're not allowed to put gluten-free on it. But I do drink those, and I have never had a reaction. New Belgium has a really good one. It's actually my favorite one. That is gluten-free.
Nice.
Soda Stone, delicious IPAs, gluten removed.
Oh yeah, that's right. Stone, yeah, Stone. Stone's a good beer. I haven't drank a lot of Stone in a while. Okay. Dave Benton asks, and it appears Dave is either Canadian or
I don't like this question.
Uh-oh.
Because he spells favorite Favorite. Who is his second favorite super friend? Now the question is he assuming that you're first?
Right.
But you don't like yourself.
Or is this making a tease because whoever you answer, the other person who didn't get named could be your first favorite super friend. So it might not.
No,
Be
I think
insulting.
he's assuming I'm my favorite super friend.
Well, let's
I'm
say
not.
you're
I'm
not
not
your
going.
favorite super
I'm
friend.
not going to answer this question as constructed. I would say Ryan is number one in terms of an internet dad, a work dad that I could have asked for. Ryan is the best in terms of, like, I think talking seriously, like, and me and him are very good about complaining about Brinson individually. So I think he takes number one there. Brinson is number one. If I wanted to grab a beer and like a steak with one super friend, it would be Will Brinson.
And
If
you wanted to, like,
Breech, if I want to get
in Miami on
yes,
a Saturday night,
if I want to get messed up in
Yeah.
a night that I will like simultaneously never forget, but also don't remember, that would be John Breech. That's what I thought of.
All right, that's fair enough.
that's
Because
actually-
in August, for example, like whenever we go out to dinners, I usually sit near like Ryan and Brinson for sure. And like Breach that whole time, like we went back to the hotel. Breach is staying at a different hotel. I'm wasted at this point. I'm yelling at our boss and all this stuff. And I turn around and Breach is just standing there with a drink. And I was like, what are you doing? Didn't you go home? And he spent that entire week trying to convince me to change my flight to go to South Beach with him. He didn't even have a place to stay, I believe, and he just wanted me to come with him to South Beach.
Well, I didn't book the hotel yet because I need to know if you were going. If you're not going, I'm getting a king bed. But if you are going, I'm not getting a king bed. I'm getting 2 queens.
Wait, if I'm not going, you're getting 2 queens?
No, I was getting a bed with a room with 1 bed if you were not going. So I need to know before I can book the room.
Breach, I was pretty upfront that I was not interested in going.
Oh, no, but I've talked people into a lot less.
yeah,
a
but
lot less
it's
time.
very, very important that he doesn't invite you to come to South Beach and you accept the offer and there's 1 king bed. That's weird.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Like, in fact, I went to Augusta with my buddy Drew, and unfortunately, I've known Drew since we were in kindergarten, so it wasn't a huge deal. But we like check into the hotel room, and there's 1 king bed. It's like, oh my god.
Nice.
I mean, you gotta either call for a cot, a rollaway bed, or you just, line a bunch of pillows in the middle and.
Fine. Yeah, I was in Atlanta. My buddy came down because he had a Super Bowl ticket, and Atlanta Super Bowl, that new hotel we stayed at, it was a king bed. So I mean, look.
But how long had you known your buddy?
25 years.
Right. Like, if you're Sean, as recently as a year ago, you could have been under the impression that Breach might be trying to kill you.
A year ago, 3 months ago.
Or like in the moment that he was asking me.
Well, it got weirder because once Breach got down there by himself after Sean said no, Breach tweeted back a picture of him standing in the middle of this lonely road doing this weird pose.
Yes.
Like, this is what you're missing, Sean.
It's like,
No,
he's like, South Beach's hottest nightclub.
in all seriousness, I probably would have been convinced to go, but I just literally the day before I got to Florida had spent a week in Vegas, and I had driven back, got on a plane right away, and I was not interested in partying anymore. After Wilson dragged us to Jester's and the final night, and then I slept 45 minutes and went to the airport drunk.
I am a little disappointed though that you give Breach the full-blown nod of partying over me.
It was close. It was close.
I will say this in Breach's defense. Breach has a plan. Brinson's plan is to go out every single night and go out hard. But Breach plans it out during the week. He goes, okay, whatever. Wednesday night's going to be my night. I'm going to go crazy, and he'll plan around it. One night.
I just sort of go and get beer, and then it escalates into a bigger night.
Well, Sean, who loves partying, left the night we saw you when you couldn't. We had to
Saturday. Well, the night before the Super Bowl.
I didn't want to say when it was because it makes Brinson look bad. But
Well, I don't care. It makes me look better.
It's easily one of the top 5 worst hangovers I've ever had in my entire life. If that makes you feel better.
That was where I went to bed at like 10 o'clock and had to walk Brinson back to his
And
room.
then a person we work with who will remain nameless pegged me in the back with a candy bar or like a Cliff Bar right before we were about to do the Pick Six podcast pregame show at the Super Bowl.
And if anyone doesn't know, you can't throw soft things at Brinson because he gets irrationally mad. Like
First of all, Cliff Bars
like a
is
stuffed
awesome.
animal in the face.
I don't like having random things thrown at me. I don't like being splashed in the pool. There's a lot of stuff I just don't like it.
I can't wait till Brinson's farewell episode and we can list all his pet peeves and we'll spend 2 hours talking about them.
Yeah, I'm calling in for that if we get to do that.
what do you mean you don't want me splashed in the pool? How often does that happen?
Yeah.
Do not splash me in the pool.
My wife is big, and she's like, Likes to spot. It really bothers me.
Wear goggles.
That's what wives do, man.
I'm not going to be a 39-year-old man wearing goggles at the pool. I'm already not taken seriously enough. I'm not doing that. Okay. Jesus Gallegos says, why do he and Breech sound so much alike?
Do they sound alike?
I didn't know this until Breech and I used to get tweets. And this happens as recently like a few weeks ago where people thought I said something and they were like crediting it to me. And I had to be like, no, that was John Breech who said it. And the only thing, that's why we used to get reviews, which was who does that high pitched giggle. It's either Sean or Breech. It's because they couldn't tell, because before the giggling, they couldn't tell who was talking.
But to answer Jesus' question why we sound so much alike, my understanding, Sean, you had vocal cord surgery done so you could sound like me after you were hired. I was quite flattering.
I was kind of following, covered Cal, not for the same outlet, moved to Oakland, considered at some point to move to San Diego, to be honest, before I went to Boulder. So
you're literally going through my textbook of how to live life. Good for you, Sean.
I don't know if that's a good thing. That's why I'm making some changes.
You're in chapter 6, and you're
I'm literally
done.
like 10 years about to be breached unless I get out.
Okay. Oh man. Garrett Metz.
This is the final question for
Final
everyone
question.
listening, wondering if this was ever going to end. This ode to Sean could last for
The three people who are going to like my tweet.
How did Sean get the job at CBS, and what made him want to get into journalism? DeBo Smart, he made it last, knowing that this is Sean's final podcast because he's leaving journalism because he dislikes it so much. And so this is a amusing question at the end.
I went to college at Cal, and my first year had no idea what I wanted to do. I got tricked into a poli-sci major because I really liked one class and never liked another class nearly as much as that one. That's a different story. At the end of my freshman year, I decided that I needed more friends that were interested in things other than partying, which was all I did my freshman year. And so the night before, like an hour before applications were due, I applied to work at the Daily Californian, which is Berkeley's student newspaper. Got accepted, and then that kind of snowballed. Became an editor there, worked with a lot of really good people who are still in the industry at this point. And I used to go into the Daily Cal every single day when I was an editor and like sit there and read Grantland and Deadspin. And that was kind of like how I got really into it, and had the opportunity to like meet a couple like writers. Like Chris Ballard lived in Berkeley. He might still live in Berkeley. Got to sit down with him. There's a couple others who I'm probably forgetting about. Oh, Jordan Kahn, who used to work for Grantland, now writes for The Ringer, and I think has a book coming out. Got to like meet with them, and that kind of furthered my interest. And then I got really lucky. I knew someone who knew someone, and that's how I got an internship at Next Impulse Sports while I was still in college, which was a really small website. But
Michael Lewis?
What's up?
Did you mention Michael Lewis? Did I miss that?
No, well, no. That was another writer who I got to meet with at Sol's in Berkeley, which is a great Jewish
I wouldn't shut
deli.
off Michael freaking Lewis. He's like the best writer in America right now.
Yeah, so Michael Lewis, we had me and my friend Michael had an incredible lunch with Michael Lewis at what has become my favorite restaurant in the Bay
Did
Area.
he go to Berkeley?
No, he went to Princeton, I think.
So how did that happen?
He lives in Berkeley. And so he lives in Berkeley, and someone knew his email, so we just emailed him out of the blue and asked if we could just meet and pick his brain, and he replied, and he was like, I'll meet you at Sol's at this time. It was, for me, that was like, I can't believe I didn't mention that. That was like an incredible moment for me to get to
I'm
ask him
still
questions
annoyed
about-
you did that because like
to ask him about like Moneyball, which like for me was like a huge thing.
he's probably my favorite writer of all time.
Yeah, he's up there for me. And that was like an experience I'll never forget. And like at the time he was like so nice because he was invested in like talking about the things that we should be doing at the Daily Cal to get noticed, like the investigative stuff that we should do. We tried, didn't work. But he was incredible. The funny thing is like years later, I saw him again at the same restaurant because he goes there a lot. And I was just like, he probably doesn't remember me. And he was with like 4 people. I was like, I'm not going to go up to him. But I was like walking past and I was like trying to make eye contact. He made eye contact with me. Definitely did not remember me whatsoever, which I expected.
It's just a little awkward then, isn't it?
Well, I didn't say anything. It was more just like as I was walking past.
But
this
like you're
table,
staring
like,
down this dude at a table, hoping to make eye contact, and then he
Yes.
does, and then he doesn't know you, and he's like, "Why is this crazy dude staring?"
Yes,
at me?
and like over the years, I've seen him at Souls many times and do not talk to him. Got very lucky. Got a job at Next Impulse Sports, where Pete Blackburn was like the head writer and like pretty much the only writer. And that I kept that internship until I graduated, when the founders, who I owe this job to as much as EK, to be honest, very politely told me that they could not keep paying me. And they were just like, but we're going to do everything in our power to get you a job. And one of the founders, Kylie, knew EK somehow. It's still kind of unclear. They had just like, I think, emailed over the years. And he put me in touch with EK, and I was very stupid on the call with EK, and because I wanted to write about the NFL or football in some form, whether it be college or NFL. And EK was like, yeah, we don't have any opportunities, but tell you what, we need someone to cover the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And I was just like, oh, I don't know anything about boxing. And we kept talking, and then EK
He's like, shut up and say you do.
EK at the end was like, I'll tell you what, we need someone to cover the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And that kind of broke the dam, and I realized, okay, he's kind of trying to offer me this job. And I got a 2-week contract, or sorry, an 8-week contract. And then that turned into an NFL gig after that. So that's what made me want to, I love writing, and I still love writing. I said that at the beginning. What I've just realized is I don't like the kind of writing that I've been doing for the last 5 years, which is mainly blogging.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said before, it wears on you. And I also think, I don't know, we talked about this when we were on our little Skype call when Sean had to break up with us in person.
That's what EK literally said on the phone to me. He said, oh my God, are you breaking up with us?
I mean, yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Literally, that's what I had said. I was like, it's not you guys.
Well, I mean, it really is like, I mean, I did it for like almost 10. Oh, wow. You know, I just realized that 9 days from now. Oh, no, actually, if this is July 5th, we're like less than a week away from my 10-year anniversary at CBS.
11th.
No, 10.
What was your, oh my God. So you were at CBS, I guess, when I was in high school?
I guess so.
That is Brinson and Wilson. You guys got here in 2010, right?
I got here in 2011.
I got here in 2011 also.
When in 2011?
June.
July.
I got here in July of 2010.
So I was between high school and
in fact,
college.
I was down at my in-laws' beach house because I accepted, like, did a phone call. My mother-in-law and my girlfriend at the time, I guess.
What?
I think we're engaged. Yeah. We weren't engaged. They were like, I was like, I got to do this call. I was like, it's with CBS Sports. It's like, I might get a job with them. I was like, could you guys give me like and they said they went down like across the street to the dock down at Wrightsville, and I chatted up with EK and got done. I was like, oh my God, like that's like, I was like, I feel like I felt pretty confident I would get the job. And I think he called back later and gave it to me. But I'm with you in the sense that I think, you know, the first 3 years we were doing, I mean, stuff was so like, you're just like, it was just a different time. And then the next 3 is like, I mean, you really got to, like, social media exploded for athletes, and you get into the transactional slog, and it's just a grind, and it's a lot to bang out, 10 stories a day about just mundane transactions. And, I mean, like, and Sean, you never cared about, like, the way Breech and I do. Ryan didn't really either, but like, you never cared about like traffic numbers. Like,
no.
You would openly be like, I don't really care.
No, I just wanted to be within the normal range. Like, me and Ryan, I think we're pretty similar. Like, we'd always be behind you two on the reports, but as long as I was like within the range of the 5 riders, like somewhere in the middle, I didn't care.
You're just
Well, also it was a losing. Like, I think I probably cared right at the beginning because I started getting those emails, and I was just like, ooh, like, this is a tangible measurement. And then like you and Breech, or mostly Breech, would just like blow everyone out of the water. I was just like, I'm not like trying.
The difference, Sean, is
I got to find a different lane. Like, I'm not winning this battle.
You and I, Sean, still have our dignity. Those two don't.
Exactly.
Well, I think, but in my defense, it's not even so much that. I do like the grind. Like, I have such a short attention span. I enjoy that the stories change every day. And yes, we cover football every single year, but it's always changing. There's new things out there. And I totally understand your point, Sean, that you wish you were doing more longer features, which we're not set up for, or just the industry doesn't.
Industry doesn't set up for that.
Right. Because you're spending a lot of time.
You're not making money on those.
On one, exactly. And so I totally get that. But, it is all about that. It's a lot of work and it wears on you. And if you don't enjoy it, then it is going to burn you out. But so far.
Look, anyone who actually manages to read my newsletter knows what kind of writing I like to do. It's not the short form stuff. Like I like to actually write longer stuff that takes me days and multiple edits and all that. And I loved the job when I first started. And what I would do is I would actually go out of my way on my free time and actually try to do these longer stories. And you can probably track the moment when I was like gave up on that. It was probably like 2 years into it. It was just too much work to actually do that on the outside. And then I was covering the Warriors, and I would like cover an NFL shift from 11 to 5, eat dinner, get into the car, go to Oracle, and be there till 2 a.m, and then do it all over again. And then that was over, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I can't grind like that.
I'm sure there are many listeners who are currently rubbing their fingers together, playing the sound of the world's tiniest violin for you.
No, this is like I'm excited to be moving on. This is like
something a little less grindy, like contract law.
This is no, but seriously, this is like a sad day, and like it's extremely bittersweet because I don't want to complain about the last 5.5 years because it has been incredible. Like, again, if you would have told me all the things that I got to do over the last 5.5 years, that I would get to do that fresh out of college when like this is all I wanted to do, like it actually fulfilled like the dream I had in college to go and do this. It was not a letdown whatsoever. It's just at a certain point you realize what you thought it was is not what it actually ends up being, and it's not what you actually end up loving. But again, if I had the option to go back and like never do this and just go straight to law school, for example, and get that head start that I'm now 5 years behind, I would not take it. I would do this 5 years again because I think, 20 years from now, I'm going to remember so many things that I got to do here at CBS that a lot of people don't get to do. And I'm incredibly fortunate. And I got so lucky that like I got to do this, that EK hired me and EK stuck with me because I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the beginning. Like I got in trouble for like doing I published a Daily Mail article back in the Wild West days when we were just like self-publishing stuff. And like I very well could have gotten fired for that, and EK defended me. So like I like very much.
You stole the photos from the Daily Mail.
Yeah, this was when you guys were in Florida for a summit. That's and right. EK was like,
the Tom Brady stuff?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, I think, like golfing in the Bahamas or something. And EK was just
did you embed a tweet, or did you actually put the photo in the story?
I put the photo in the story.
Okay.
I mean, and like look, you tell me this now, it's like, what if freaking idiot, right? Yeah. But like I was coming from this small website where like, we could steal photos because anything goes. And like a college paper where like we used our own photographers' photos, and like I had no experiences with this, and everyone was blogging the story, and I was just like, oh crap, like I'm the only guy online, like I have to do this. And I did it. And then the next morning I wake up, log into Campfire, and I see EK talking about it. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my job after 2 weeks covering the NFL.
I remember.
I'm incredibly fortunate I got these 5 years, which is the short version.
I remember having that conversation. I think we were in Florida. I remember talking to EK about it. He was like, the new guy kind of, he's like, we're sort of getting threatened.
Oh, I'm pretty sure CBS probably had to pay the Daily Mail.
I think so.
This is not the first CBS Daily Mail incident, I believe, over the 5 years. That was the only one I was responsible for. But the point being, I did not feel like going into that job. In hindsight, I was exactly like ready for it. And the fact that I got that job right away, like it probably would have been better served if I was in this industry for the long haul to have done that high school reporting job and all that and worked my way up. And so I'm incredibly fortunate, A, that I got the job in the first place, B, they stuck with me, and that I was able to stay here with you guys for 5.5 years when there's so much turmoil throughout the industry.
That's the Sean Show. We're going to miss you, buddy. Probably not until like the first Sunday of the season.
Not until the Bears start losing by 3 touchdowns.
Or not until the Bears get to the Super Bowl. That's when we're going to miss them.
Hey, if the Bears get to the Super Bowl, maybe I'll pay my own way and I'll see you guys down there in Tampa, assuming there is a Super Bowl.
If somebody would have asked us a year ago and said, hey, look, one of you guys isn't going to be on the podcast by next July, who would you have thought it was?
99%, Brinson.
That's fine. I don't even disagree with that.
But for getting fired for saying something outlandish,
No,
tweeting, getting fired for a tweet.
And also to everyone who actually does listen and enjoy me. I'm sure there are many people like that guy who left a review and other people who haven't left reviews who don't. But to the people who actually do listen and do engage with me on Twitter and read my stuff, like, genuine thank you. Like, it truly has been amazing. And I will miss a lot of people, but I will still be around on Twitter. Like, I unfortunately, I am still addicted to that platform.
What are the odds, by the way, we didn't really cover this, but what are the odds that, like, Colorado school gets canceled and Sean has to come beg for his job back?
40%.
25. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere between 25 and 40%, right? Like, law school doesn't happen. If you had to do virtual law school, would you do virtual law school or?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I don't like. You guys have to realize I'm 27, turning 28 in September. Like, I'm not trying to delay this any longer. Like,
Are
I'm
you
trying
going to go
get
and
off.
write articles about the Buffaloes? You can go to football games
Oh my God.
and start a Colorado Buffs blog and podcast.
Also,
You
thanks,
guys-
thanks for the existential crisis reminder, 27-year-old.
What you guys like your jobs and you're trying to stay in this industry. You don't have anything to worry about. If you were 40 and like being like, I want to start over and go to law school, then yeah, you probably should sit down and think about that.
You have 1 year, Brinson's basically what he's saying.
I'm not going.
Brinson's not 40?
Oh.
Yaka yaka, waka waka, naka naka, whatever it is. All right, let's get out of here. We hit the 90-minute mark.
Yikes. Sorry, DeBo.
Right about it. Right about there. Sean,
Shedding my tear.
it's been real. I just want you to take one thing with you.
What a big jam. Wallace took it in his hands and said, up and away. Dipsy do, Dunkaroo.
See you guys.